Hey guys, what's going on? Kevin Yates here. So I want to share with you today the 6 most important exercises and movements all men over 40 should be doing. And these are movements that are going to help get you stronger. They are movements that will help you look better, feel better, move better, perform better, and decrease pain and injuries. And that is a key thing, especially as we get older in our 40s, in our 50s and beyond. You know, nagging aches, pains, and injuries are a thing that plague a lot of us. And so these are 6 movements that will help. So number 1 is squatting. Now, you know, if you are like a lot of men over 40, you probably had some kind of knee problems or low back problems or maybe hip pain. And squats might be one of those things that you're worried that might make it worse, or maybe you have pain when you squat already and you've been told you need to avoid doing squats. Now, while that might be true in terms of you don't want to load a 400-pound barbell on your back and do heavy squats, it doesn't mean you need to avoid squatting altogether, nor should you, and here's why. Outside of the gym setting, if we think in real life, there's too many things that we need to do that involve squatting. For example, we've got to get in and out of our cars to drive to and from work or to go places with our family. We have to get in and out of our chairs at our desk, sitting in business meetings or, you know, wherever we might be. But in and out of chairs is another one. So doing things around the house where we have to, you know, pick things up. Maybe you have to bend down and get something out of a cabinet down below, pick something up off the floor. So there's no way to really get around squatting. And the problem is that when we avoid these movements, it might help in the short term, but in the long term, it sets us up for pain and injuries because we never learn how to do these movements safely and effectively and without pain. So the second movement is hinging, where we are bending at the waist. So it's a little different from a squat. Think in terms of doing an exercise like a deadlift. Now, again, if you have problems, especially low back problems, a lot of men are afraid to do something like deadlifts. We don't want to bend over because we're worried we're going to injure our backs. And the problem again is that it's kind of like use it or lose it. When we stop doing these movements that are fundamental movement patterns, think of all the movements again where, you know, you might be working in your backyard, having to drag a bag, right? You load up all the trimmings and the bushes and the leaves and things and put it in a bag, and you have to drag it, or you have to lift it, or you have to drag and move garbage cans, or again, picking things up around the house, or if you have little kids and you have to pick them up, grocery bags, things like that. There's all kinds of things or movements where we have to bend over and lift. And if we don't, again, build enough strength and prepare our bodies to do these types of movements, that's where we get pain from. I'm a big believer that movements do not, and exercises do not cause pain and injuries. It's how we do them that does. So if we have issues such as maybe there's a joint restriction that you have, maybe there's like muscle imbalances that you have, maybe there are posture or joint alignment issues that you have, or maybe you have some issues higher up. There could be problems with our visual system that throws where our brain can't properly navigate our field of vision. And so it forces us to make compensations with how we move. And that increases stress and wear and tear to joints, muscles, tendons, and ligaments that cause pain. So these are just some examples of things that can happen that cause pain, but it's not a reason to avoid these movements. We have to get to the root cause and understand why we have pain in the first place, identify it, and then work on that system in the body. And once we start doing that and we clear those issues up, that we start to move better. And when we start to move better, the pain tends to resolve itself. Okay, so the third movement is single leg. So these are movements where we have to think, again, outside the gym, what are the movements we do? We do movements like going up and down stairs. We might have to kneel down to pick up our car keys off the floor, or if we drop something and pick it up. So again, single leg movements are notorious for causing knee pain with men over 40. But again, it's not the movement that's the problem. It's usually because there's some kind of restriction or a compensation or something going on in the brain and nervous system that are trying to shut that movement down. which is why we get pain. So again, the key to unlocking and getting through the pain is to unlock what's inhibiting the movement or keeping us from being able to do the movement safely and effectively. All right, our next movement, there's two of them. I'm going to couple these because they kind of go together: pushing and pulling. Right. So again, think about things: reaching up in cupboards, doing things overhead if you have to get on a ladder and reach for something, or do some work on the house, or again, working outside in your yard. Just things all the time that involve pushing and pulling, opening doors, right? Sliding glass doors to get into your backyard. I have a barbecue over here that's a big, gas grill and a half a charcoal grill, and it's heavy. And I might have to drag that to move it out of the way sometimes, or I might have to lift my propane tank because I got to go refill it, and I got to go take that, lug it into a car, and take it to the gas station and go get it filled up. These are things that nobody can do for me, and if I don't learn how to do them and keep my body prepared to be able to do these movements, I'm going to set myself up for pain and injuries as well. So pushing and pulling, and then finally rotation. And again, this is a big one that a lot of times we're told we need to avoid, especially if you've ever had a back problem, low back pain in particular. But again, most of the joints, almost all of our joints in our body actually do rotation. So rotation is a part of so many movements that we do. We cannot get around it even if we tried. And if we don't, again, train our bodies how to perform these movements safely and effectively, that's where pain shows up. So those are our 6 movements. We've got to be able to squat, we've got to be able to hinge, we have to push, we have to pull, we have to do single leg work, and we have to be able to rotate. These are the movements, fundamental movement patterns that we see in our everyday life. And if you do have pain or problems with any of these movements, again, pain is not a sign that you cannot do these movements. It doesn't mean that you have to give up doing your favorite activities. If you enjoy running or golfing or tennis or whatever it might be, don't let pain be the life sentence that dictates what you can and can't do. There is always a way to reduce pain or eliminate it altogether. The key to it, though, is understanding what the linchpin is that's driving it all. When you get to that and you address it, movement, you will find that your movement starts to get better and return, so you'll have more mobility, and as you start to move better, you feel better, and that pain doesn't have a reason to exist in your body, so it will start to go away and resolve itself. And you don't need medications or surgery or drugs or anything to do it, all right? So I hope you got something from that. I hope that this helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I'll be back next time with